Welcome to this week's episode of Analyzing Chazal. This week we'll be analyzing the commentary of the Kli Yakar on this week's parasha, Parshas Vayikehel. Let's go to the pasuk. Perek Lamed Hey, pasuk Hey. The pasuk says, "Kechu meitchem truma laHashem, kol nediv libo yiviyeh es trumas Hashem, zahav v'chesef u'nachoshes." Take for yourselves a donation to God. Everyone with a generous heart should bring as a contribution to God gold, silver, and copper. The Kli Yakar. ועוד יכלל מאיתכם שכל אחד יזדרז למצווה מעצמו, כי יש לך אדם שאינו נושא כלום עד שרוע אחרים נושאים, ומסקנה בהם, על כן הוא נושא כדי להשוות להם, וזה אינו מאיתכם, כי הוא עצמן אינו הסיבה לנסינה. Another idea included in the word me'itchem is that each person has to inspire themselves to the mitzvah, as there are some people who do not give at all until they see someone else give, and to equate himself to them, he gives as well. This is not considered to be me'itchem, as he is not the reason for his giving. The explanation of the Kli Yakar. The Kli Yakar is telling us that God only wanted donations that were given because the person really wanted to donate. But if a person only gave because he was jealous of the other person who gave, and he only gave so he would be like him, that donation should not be accepted. The type of question. The type of question we'll be using is that the commentary is telling us that the Torah seems to be making a differentiation between two things that on the surface should be similar. Let's stop for a moment. With the information you already have and the type of question we'll be using, can you come up with a question yourself? Okay, here's the question. The Kli Yakar seems to be telling us that you should not accept a donation from a person who is only giving the contribution because he sees other people doing so and he wants to be like them. That implies, however, that only this is an obstacle to accepting the donation. But if a person is giving the donation because he wants olam haba, or he wants people to say about him that he is generous, that would not seem to be an obstacle to accepting the donation. Is the fact that you want to give only to be like the other person so much worse than wanting people to think that you are generous that it should be an obstacle to receiving their donation? The answer, as we always say, comes from the question, which was, is it possible for the Kli Yakar to make a distinction between donating because you see someone else giving and you are jealous of them, so you give to be like them, which is bad, versus someone who gives to be called generous? And that type of giving is fine, even though they both seem to be at the same level of doing the mitzvah, not for the sake of God. The answer is, of course, yes, that the distinction is correct, as it is in the nature of a person that as long as he is getting a benefit from a mitzvah, even if he is not doing it for the sake of God, the desire to do it is coming from a place of spirituality and an understanding that the action is good. But if a person does a mitzvah only because someone else is doing it and they are jealous, that action is just a shell, and there is nothing spiritual attached to the act at all. The practical application. In our lives, sometimes we find certain mitzvahs difficult to do, and we feel that it is beneath us to do the mitzvah for ulterior motives, like people will respect us for it or that it makes me feel good. But we need to know that as long as the reason we are doing the mitzvah stems from a place that we know that the action is good, even if we're only doing the mitzvah for honor or other such benefit, the mitzvah is good, and we should use these ulterior motives to help us do the mitzvahs that are hard for us. Have a wonderful Shabbos, and we'll see you next week for Parshas Pekudei.